Goodness gracious. That was exciting. That was very. Here we go. Hello. Can you hear me, everyone? I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. Type something to me if you can. It's so cold. And I've got my lamp. Hang on a sec. Got my little lamp shining in my eyes. There we go. It's better. I have to have it on. Hello, Rod and Sharpie. How you going? Couldn't resist starting this off. Good on you, Emily and Kevin. Good work. So cold. I've got my Drinks with Kate scarf on. I don't know if Joan's watching, but I'm actually going to take it off now because I always get a little overwrought while I'm doing this. But the Drinks with Kate scarf has kept me warm all day today. Very good, very nice, warm, dense knit. Okay, well, first of all, how is everyone? Apart from cold, it's been a lovely busy week. I've been rushing around like a mad thing, and I nearly didn't make it to Drinks with Kate tonight, which was I don't know what happened. Just lost track of time. Hello, Daryl and Sue. How you going? Oh, Shell, all on your own. Oh my God, you had to prepare all by yourself. That's outrageous. I hope Andrew's got a good excuse for not being here. Warmed by the wine. Absolutely. So let's get that happening. Hello, Craig. Thank you, Nareem. Yes, it is my birthday week. I forgot that I told you all it was my birthday at some stage in the past. But yes, I had a lovely birthday on Monday. Thank you for all your messages. Richard's trying to force feed his cats. They're not cooperating tonight. It's mayhem here. Thank you. Oh, the love and kisses. That's very kind, everyone. No, it's been really nice. It's been one of those weeks that I've sort of feel like the whole week has been a celebratory week, which has been very, very lovely. So Karen and Joan, hi, good to see you. We have a successful WSET diploma exam candidate to celebrate. So congratulations, young man. Well done. We're not making too much of a fuss because there are more exams to do, but I think that's really wonderful work. Okie doke. Let us. Oh my God, I've got the wrong wine. I have the 2022. Richard. We've got all the dogs here. I've only got Richard as my sidekick because Jill's gone away. Dad, can you help me? I have a 2022 Pinot Gris on skins and it should be 2020 Pinot Gris on skins. I think there's one in there in the box on the trolley just behind the door with your name on it. It should say Richard on it and there should be a 2020 in the box, but Jill's box had a 2022. This is a disaster. This has never happened before. This is what happens. I was rushing because I was having a very good conversation with Leonie at the end of the day, trying to work out, talking cellar door stuff. It is a very deep orange. Oh, Leonie, you've got the 2022 as well. I know. And so Leonie and I were chatting, and then all of a sudden I went, hang on, I don't have my phone and I don't have what's the time, Leonie? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And we both went, oh, Drinks with Kate. And I ran inside and it was 20 to 6. So sorry for making you late home, Leonie. I'm glad you made it. Hopefully Dad will be able to find me a lovely 2020 Pinot Gris on skins. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to listen to what you guys think of it and drink the 2022. So we'll see how it goes. I can hear clanking and crashing going on in there. Poor Dad, he's got no idea which box I'm talking about either, so he'll be having a complete stress out. I should have maybe got him to sit here and have a chat to you while I went and had a look in the box, but that would have been way too sensible. Anyway, Emily's got the 2022. That's great. I've had some photos of pink food, so while I'm waiting for Dad to work his magic, tell me how your pink food is going with your 2020. Oh, hello, Zach, Jack, Hannah, and Toby. Lovely to see you guys. Who else is? No one else is logged on new. I was just going to have a look at So Karen and Peter are having Terra Macerata and other pink things. Skies. Oh, Bridget and Anthony. Hello. We missed you. Welcome back. Good to see you. I noticed that you ordered a box the other day. I'm not sure whether it would have got to you yet, but hopefully if it hasn't, that will arrive very soon. If it has, even better, you can be drinking the Pinot Gris on skins. I don't think Dad's having a lot of luck. I'm not sure if he knows which box I meant for him to look in. And I can't really do anything. I could take you into. Do you want me to take you into the glass room? Do you want to go into the glass room and help me see if we can help him find it? The 2020 is on the floor to the left of your packing bench. Okay, cool. Hang on, everyone. I'm going to disconnect that. Oh, it's dark. I don't know if the hang on. Here we go. Oh, isn't this fun? You're attached to a cord for the internet, so it might not stretch far enough. No luck?
Some downstairs, wouldn't it?
Leonie said that there's some, Richard the hero, Leonie said there's some in cellar door on the floor to the left of the packing bench.
Okay.
Do you know where that is? Yeah? Cool. All right. I'll just keep chatting until you come back. And if you can't find it there, then we'll just drink the 2022 and these guys can tell us what the 2020 looks like. Oh, well, you didn't get to see the glass room. That was exciting, wasn't it? I think that without the Shell, I think without the round light thing, it's more it's moodier in here. I think that the lighting is a little bit more flattering. I feel like I'm in the headlights when the round light goes on. So I'm going to put the round light back on again, and you guys can vote for me. Oh God, this is the worst Drinks with Kate ever, isn't it? This lighting or that lighting? Which do you guys prefer? And you can see me better, I think, in the better lighting. Okay, so while Dad's gone looking for the wine, let's have a chat about, is this considered a rosé? Thank you, Sharpie and Rod, for getting me back on track. Do I have the yellow setting on? That's the blue setting. And that's the yellow setting. So, yes, I like the yellow better than the blue. Thanks, Shell. Okay, so let's talk about the wine. Sharpie and Rod want to know, is this considered a rosé? And my thank you. Thanks, guys. The way I describe this wine, yes, it's a pink wine. The 2022 is pinker than the 2020. It's more orange. Anyway, and you should see the colour of the 2023. It's not finished yet, so it'll be a slightly different colour than what it is at the moment. But every time Jeremy brings it in for me to taste it, I say, is that the Pinot or is that the Pinot Gris on skins? He's like, it's the Pinot Gris on skins. Richard saved the day. Hurrah! Thank you, Richard. There we go. Okay, let's start this thing again. Moorooduc Estate 2020 Pinot Gris on skins. That was dreadful, Kate. Okie doke. I'll put some in the glass and I promise I will answer that question about whether this is considered a rosé. Because the answer is yes and no and yes. So it's definitely a pink wine. So at the simplest level, rosé means a pink wine in French. But I don't consider this to be a traditional rosé because it's a traditional rosé, to my mind, is a wine that is made usually in quite hot climates where it's hard to get freshness and tanginess from white grape varieties, particularly before there was refrigeration. So in those hot climates, grape varieties like Grenache particularly, and other grape varieties too, Sangiovese in Italy, all sorts of things, are treated as white grape. The wine is made like a white wine. So they press the juice off the skins, and so you get just a very pale colour in the wine. but the wine behaves like a white wine, even though it's made from red grapes. That's what I call a traditional rosé. They're light, they're fresh, and you want to serve them really cold on a hot summer's day. They're very refreshing. This wine, on the other hand, is made from a grape variety that is considered to be a white grape variety. As we've discussed before, Pinot Gris has a lot of colour in its skin. It's sort of a blush, coppery, pinky, grey colour in the skin, which is why it's called Pinot Gris. Hello, Sue and Jeff. Oh, you just missed all the fun of the... We've had an adventure already in the first 10 minutes of Drinks with Kate, Sue and Jeff. I tell you what, you really you missed out on a good one this time. Anyway, welcome to Drinks with Kate. So this one is I will get there in the end. I'll calm down. Okay, Kate, breathe. And this wine is a red wine made from white grapes, and more often in modern parlance, people will call this an orange wine. I also don't like to call it an orange wine because that conjures up images of a lot of natural winemaking. And I was out for dinner with my friends Angela and Simon, who have been occasional joiners on Drinks with Kate. Hello, Sarah and all the tricks. Lovely to see you. Angela and Simon and I went out for dinner at a cool little pizzeria in Brunswick 2 nights ago, and I ordered a glass of orange wine, and it wasn't made from Pinot Gris. It was made from Trebbiano, and it was kind of a browny yellow in colour and murky, and it smelt at the beginning of proceedings as though I just walked past a nail bar, where you get your fingernails done. All those smells of nail polish remover and nail polish, acetone. It was quite a strange wine to start off with. I thought it would be very good for me to just make sure that I kept an open mind about these things, and it actually opened up quite nicely with some air. But when I first stuck my nose in it, I was a little bit shocked and horrified. This is correct, Nareem. I haven't even taken a sip of the wine. It's been a palaver and a disaster. So yes, so I don't call this an orange wine because I think of orange wine as being white grape varieties made as red wine, but without the quality control that we use. So that usually means a little bit of sulfur. It means just keeping an eye on the wine, making sure that we don't get any nasty aromatics. We don't really want the wine to be excessively cloudy. You'll see that the 2020 is quite clear, and for a wine that's been in the bottle for at least a couple of years, there's very little, if any, sediment. I don't know if you guys are seeing any sediment in your wine. I'm not seeing any in mine, but the lighting is not awesome here. When I look at the 2022, it's a little bit less clear, but it's still pretty clear for an orange wine style, and that usually happens naturally for us. But if we get a wine that's cloudy, then we will put it through filtration to get the bits out before we bottle it. So that's how we differentiate our wine from sort of more natty orange wines. But this, so this one, and again, a lot of you have heard this before, and I will talk about how this wine is smelling and tasting in just a moment. Cloudy is absolutely in Peter and Karen, but we're not chasing trends here at Moorooduc. We're just doing things the way we think they should be done. And we don't think cloudiness is wonderful. A lot of sommeliers do, but a lot of sommeliers are currently influenced by current trends rather than classic winemaking. Hello, Cotty and John, lovely to see you. Thank you. So the big difference with this wine, as far as drinking it and serving it compared to a traditional rosé, is, as I always say to you, don't serve it too cold because you lose all the aromatics. And if you serve it too cold as well, This wine has got significant tannin structure to it because it's been fermented on skins. It's spent 19, 20 days on skins during that fermentation process. So it's taken a lot of the tannins out of the skins into the wine. And if the wine is too cold, then those tannins become very bitter and hard and make it quite difficult to enjoy. Whereas if it's sort of room temperature, Pinot Noir temperature, and the room's not particularly warm today, so room temperature is perfect. This is cellar door temperature, which is even more perfect. Then it's going to smell lovely and the tannins are going to be present, but they'll be in their correct place. Yes, Alison swallowed the Kool-Aid. Absolutely. Not that we're drinking Kool-Aid tonight. We're drinking Pinot Gris on skins. We're talking about the sommeliers who are into cloudy wines. But, look, trends come and go, and young sommeliers get so excited about the wines that they're learning about, they forget that there's lots of other wisdom that's come before them. It's like kids. And I know that there's a few young people watching tonight, and this is absolutely not a negative comment in any way. I love talking to my young friends who are finishing high school, going to university, learning new things for the first time. It's so exciting that they don't realise until they get a little bit older that we all went through that phase as well when we were that age, and we remember how exciting it is learning those new things for the first time. It's easy to get jaded and grumpy as we get older, and I love talking to young people and I love talking to young sommeliers because they're so excited about everything. They just have to sometimes young sommeliers need to get just need to have a little conversation about, where things have come from to understand where they might be going. Craig, you try and avoid young friends. Now, that's very grumpy of you. You've got young people in your house, though. I don't, so I have to go out looking for them. All right, this one's had time to open up in the glass. Gosh, it's a beautiful colour, isn't it? It's developed that gorgeous kind of almost sort of sunset orange. It's almost the same colour as the light fittings here, which I think is rather nice. Good, and also my Drinks with Kate top works well. Yours is 17 degrees, Alison. That's quite a good temperature to be drinking at. It's not too warm for you. Okay, so someone back there. Oh, Alison, different savoury, dry, great mouthfeel. There you go, Father. I did get you a glass, even though I got the wrong wine.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, not too warm. Excellent. So it's opening up really nicely, and it's lost a lot of the florals. If you think back to, if you've had any of the 2022 recently, the 22 has got lots of lifted rose petal lavender characters. It's got it's got all that kind of really bright strawberry, rhubarb, pomegranate. This one's become more savoury with its little bit of bottle age. It's almost there's definitely that sort of perfumed pink rose aromatic to it still, but it's got these amazing savoury kind of notes, which I'm really struggling to describe. So I'm going to keep thinking about it while I taste it. Jeremy's made a good comment though, so let's That is delicious. So I'm not quite sure. I don't have a thermometer to stick in my wine to tell you exactly how much it is, but I reckon mine's probably about 14 degrees as well, Emily. It feels quite cool, but not too cold. It's really lovely. It's still quite closed at the moment, but very refreshing and crisp. I'm going to think about the flavours and aromas a minute while I read Jeremy's. Jeremy's being provocative. Here's a confusing comment. I see the aromatics very differently in this wine compared to white Pinot Gris, and at the same time similar. A very interesting wine to serve in a black glass with a blindfold on, says Craig. I agree. I think, and Alison's just said the first time I tried it with my eyes closed, I would have sworn it was red. And I think I think that's absolutely what this wine does. It's very confusing because it's made from a grape variety that we think of as a white grape variety. I think the aromatics and the texture of the wine are very different from our white Pinot Gris. And the 2020, I'm just about to taste, not tonight, but maybe tomorrow or early next week. Oh no, I'm on holiday next week. Tomorrow, Tomorrow, I'm going to taste the 2020 Estate Pinot Gris because, as I mentioned in my email yesterday, we're pretty much sold out of the 2019 Pinot Gris. I find that the white Pinot Gris for us has a lot more pear and quince perfume. It's got kind of a voluptuousness to the perfume, but those wines have got more bottle age on them than the Pinot Gris on skins when we drink them. So to do a really fair compare and contrast, it would be looking at this wine next to the 2020 Estate Pinot Gris. So I'm probably being unrealistic to think that Rich and I are going to leave a bit of this bottle to look at again tomorrow, but we might try so that we can compare this to the white Pinot Gris 2020, because that would be very interesting. Sharpie and Rod are getting pomegranates. Absolutely. Well, I think, Alison, though, I think the vintages have changed. What does this taste like straight out of the fermenter? Well, Craig, straight out of the fermenter, it's got lots of the rhubarb and strawberry and cherry aromatics, but it tastes much less rounded because this wine's been through a malolactic fermentation and the time in the barrel that it's had while it's waiting to go through its malolactic fermentation, as well as the actual conversion of malic acid to lactic acid, gives it more softness and roundness. Whereas when it's just fermented and we press it off, it's very tangy. It's very vibrant. It's often pretty delicious, but in quite a confronting way. Whereas it's kind of mellowed out a little bit now. Sharpie and Roddy getting pomegranates. Nareem's getting orange peel on the nose. That's it. It's like blood orange peel, or I get a little bit of it's eluding me. It pops in and then it disappears. I'm getting a little bit of that sort of salted plum, kind of Japanese salted plum character, and it might just be the power of suggestion. Shell's just written here that she's prepared for herself tonight classic salmon sashimi plus green bean and tofu salad with peanut dressing, hoisin and chili flakes, and the wine's doing well. That sounds delicious. And I was just going to say, this is going to be a weird one, but you're used to me being weird now. There's a slight kind of salmon, fatty salmon kind of aromatic to it. It's that savory kind of, it's not meaty. It is a bit meaty, but it's not meaty kind of chickeny or beefy. It's not fishy, but it's got that kind of that I don't know, when you pan fry. Jeremy bought me some, actually Jeremy and Iggy, hi Iggy. Jeremy and Iggy chose me some beautiful fish from their favourite fish shop last week, and it was this beautiful New Zealand fatty salmon that you could absolutely eat as a sashimi. I pan fried it very gently and then took the skin off and crisp fried the skin, and it's that kind of crispy salmon skin, salmon fat without the fishiness. I don't know. I'm not describing it very well at all, but there's just this little thing in there. It's very savoury. It's marble to smell. I don't know, Shell, but I know what you mean. This is the sort of wine that you kind of go, oh, it's very vinous, isn't it? It smells and tastes like wine. So Cotty had the Devil Ben Creek White Pinot Gris at lunch today. Tasting the Gris on skins now is so interesting. The flavour's so different. Yeah, it is. It's very different, complex. It's amazing what the skins add. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of rhubarb coming up now. I'm getting that orange peel character. I'm getting a little bit of berry still, but it's more complex than that. It's almost like sort of, there's a tea leafy kind of savouriness to it as well. A hint of cold smoked salmon. I know it doesn't sound very delicious, and I think smoked salmon is a little bit fatty, but also fishy, and I don't get a fishy smell at all. But it's that richness that you get from salmon fat that I think. And Craig, I think that's a really good point. Craig saying that that Shell's inspired him to think that it might go well with Wagyu. And I think that's right. It very well would. I think it would go well with Wagyu because it's got, again, that kind of buttery, fatty, rich flavour. I wonder whether it would also go quite nicely with foie gras for the same reason. Although foie gras is going to be pretty rich with this wine. Alison, I was dreading someone asking me that question because I really don't know the answer to it. Alison's asked, from a selling point of view, how long do you think you could hold it for? I don't know what this is going to do with time. I feel a little bit sad that it's lost its primary freshness, but I'm really enjoying that sort of mellow savouriness that it's got. And I don't know whether it's just going to sort of fade gently over time or whether it's going to evolve into something else. I don't know if Jeremy's still on the chat, whether you've got an opinion, Jeremy, or Dad, have you got any thoughts? Do you think, remembering that people can't hear you if you stand there and talk, sit there and talk, but do you think this will age more, or do you think it's just a sort of drink it early and see how it goes? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, let me translate that for people who can't hear you. Richard thinks that it should age well, given our experience with the white Pinot Gris that we've made, that has aged a lot better than we thought it would. As you guys all know, we've had the 2013 a couple of times and the 14 and even the 12, and they're all looking terrific still, in a really different way from how they looked when they were young. So this wine, I think it's got all that quality of fruit, but it's got tannin to add to the ageability of the wine. So Dad's prediction is that it will age very well for quite some time. I think he's probably right, and Craig is also suggesting that you think it might be an evolution, a bit like Semillon could be interesting after 10 years. I think that's absolutely right. Probably, as Alison has said, it's not going to last for that long in most people's cellars. I will definitely endeavour to keep some of it in our cellar for a little while. This wine, just before you start asking me if you can buy some, I think I've already told you that this wine came out of the cellar. We had 4 dozen in there, so I reckon we're drinking the very last bottles of the 2020 Pinot Gris on skins, but I will make sure that I keep some of the 2022 stashed to have a look at in 10, 15 years time, when we're still doing drinks with Kate, or however we get together to taste wine back in those days. Jeremy, maybe more so than any of the other red wines we make, we see more variation in the breadth of tannin and structure from season to season. Jeremy thinks the volume of tannin in a higher tannin year gives it more longevity. I think that's right. We do need to keep some Peter and Karen to see if it sort of dips and then changes to be more interesting. I think it possibly could. I mean, the thing about the white Pinot Gris that we make, it starts out with sort of green pear and very tight, and then that evolves into riper yellow pear and quince. And so that's a sort of logical evolution for me for the white Pinot Gris. This wine has gone. Coddy, I think the Halliday ratings for me, 95. Is that for the 2022 though in the new book? Because I'm not sure if we got quite as good a rating for the 2020, but I might be remembering incorrectly. I think that, to be honest, and I think that Jane Faulkner is an excellent taster, but I think she and we are sort of guessing as to how long these wines are going to age. So yeah, 27, I reckon. But if you have a look at what she says for our Pinots and our Chardonnays, they usually give sort of a 5 to 8 year aging period for those wines. And we know, you guys and I know, that those single vineyard wines, the Pinots and the Chardonnays, and the Pinot Gris age for a lot longer than that. So yes, it's a bit of guesswork, particularly with a wine like this that we haven't been making for very long, and that not many people make a wine like this or haven't made a wine like this for a long time. Even the sort of more traditional Italian versions, I haven't tasted any with significant age on them, so we'll have to do some more research. Wait for a little bit longer. Now, someone else said something. Craig, are you tweaking this as the vintages go by? So, not really. The first year that we made it, we went, so that was 2015. If you remember, we made 1 barrel, and that wine we were a bit gentler with. We only plunged it a little bit. We pressed it off a little bit earlier than Pinot Noir. And then in 2016, we sort of said, let's just treat this the same way as we treat Pinot Noir. So then we plunged it twice a day while it was fermenting. We did, and we made it from 2017 or 2018. Anyway, we started making it in slightly larger volume. And from 2020, I believe, we made a full fermenter rather than just a little bucketful. But the winemaking been fairly consistent all the way along. It's I think the differences in the wines are more to do with vintage variation. It hasn't always been from exactly the same vineyard, so that's a little bit of change from vintage to vintage. And without having the book in front of me, I wouldn't be able to tell you the exact breakdown. I know that the 2022 comes from. Dad's talking to the cat, so he can't help me with it. What's the name of the vineyard that 2022 comes from? Duns Creek. The 22 comes from Duns Creek. The 2020 might have been all Duns Creek. Dad thinks it probably was. But in the early days, it was either Osborne or Garden Vineyard Fruit, because we weren't working with Duns Creek back then. So yeah, there's been a little bit of a change of fruit source, but not huge. And the winemaking is pretty consistent. What else can I tell you about it? I think we've become more comfortable with the style as we've made it for a few years. We kind of know what to expect. So when it comes out a certain colour early on, and then as it sort of spends its time in barrel and goes through malo, and then we do give it some sulphur before it's bottled, the colour changes a little bit, and we're sort of we're starting to understand a little bit how that works, although that's always a little bit random what colour you're going to end up with. I think aromatically and texturally, I think the wines are quite consistent. But as Jeremy said a moment ago, that in the years where we have smaller berries and thicker skins, then we're going to have more tannin, and the higher tannin years will probably be wines that maybe have more longevity, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. To your mind, Jeremy, just off the top of your head, do you have a feeling for the higher tannin Pinot Gris on skins? Because I don't think this one's looking particularly high tannin. But 2020 was a cool year, but it was quite a small crop, wasn't it? So I would imagine that 2020 might have given us quite a bit of tannin. And it might just be my palate tonight, but it feels quite soft to me. But when you look at the tannin, there is a bit of grip there as well. So how's it going with your pink foods? How is it going? I want to know, how is it going? Perfect with prosciutto, says Daryl and Sue. How's it going with the Tarama Salata? That's probably the most risky food and wine match I popped up in the thing. And did anyone make ratatouille? Because I think it would be rather nice with ratatouille, or anything that's sort of a tomato-based pasta-y kind of a dish would be rather lovely. Chuck some chilies in and everyone's happy, as long as you like chilies. It's slipping down very nicely, isn't it? It's an easy little wine to drink. Nareem's not getting much in the way of tannins. I don't. Sharpie and Rod are having it with the lasagna. Oh, that would be delicious. And this is the thing I love about this wine, is that it's really versatile with food. It handles a lot of things that you throw at it. It's got a sort of an Italianness to it that makes it very friendly with it, a lot of Italian food. But it also works really well with all those sort of Japanese flavors, because I see those sort of Japanese flavors in the wine as well. Richard. Yeah, I would, but could you come over here and do it so that they can hear you, so I don't have to sit here looking awkward and then repeat it? That'd be really good. Richard's going to give us a little précis on 2020 as a year.
Well, 1920 was very memorable.
2020.
2020, that's what I said.
You said 1920.
Oh, 2020. 1920, I lost 100 years.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what happens when you get older, isn't it?
I don't remember 1920 personally. Would have been fun.
No, it wouldn't have been a great time, actually. There was the Spanish flu and all sorts of dreadful things.
A bit like now.
Anyway, 2020 started off very difficult conditions, and there was a small crop, as Kate mentioned, and we had, if you remember, bushfires and drought and all sorts of things, and very hot day in Melbourne around about, or just after Christmas, 45 degrees or something horrible. And then all of a sudden it got cool. It got cool and it got damp, and it's one of only three vintages since 2006 that the beginning of vintage has been not before the end of February. Early March we started picking fruit. And I think those cool, less dry conditions probably produced, admittedly, a small crop, but a crop that had less tannin in it. I think you want sort of some heat and some sunlight and that sort of stuff to develop tannins in skins. I think the wine has beautiful tannins, but they're not as high a level as some of the years, warm years.
Thanks, Dad. To add to that, Jeremy has said that the 21 had more grip, and he wonders whether that was partly climate related, but also Jeremy's remembering that we maybe changed vineyards in 2021, which doesn't quite, but you know, he's probably right. But he said that Duns tends to give small berries regardless of November weather, so we seem to be making more structured wine with the fruit from Duns Creek, which is why we've selected that for the Pinot Gris on skins these days. Smaller berries, bit more structure, and using that vineyard source, we're getting a bit more tannin in the more recent wines. Be really interesting to line them all up and taste them, but unfortunately we've done a very poor job because we made such little quantities, and it's been a bit of a runaway success, this wine, partly because it's so different from all the other wines that we make, and because it's such a pretty color, but also because I think it's delicious, and we just haven't kept very much of any of them. So if we do a little vertical tasting of them, we'll have to do that when we all get together in the same room, I reckon. Peter and Karen are saying it's great with the taramasalata, excellent, good with the mild salami, not so good with a very over smoked prosciutto, very good with tomato tart, excellent, very good, thank you. Craig asks, have you exported any of this, any markets it works in? That's a very interesting question, because yes, we have. So I'm going to talk about Australia first before I talk about the export markets, because I find Australia really interesting as a place to sell wine. We sell most of the Pinot Gris on skins direct from cellar door and through our website, and to you guys on Drinks with Kate, online. So most of the Pinot Gris on skins we sell direct. Our distributors in Victoria have quite a quite a traditional portfolio. They sell a bit of Australian wine. They sell quite a lot of Burgundy and German wine and a little bit of Austrian wine. They're very much Pinot Noir, Chardonnay people, and Pinot Gris on skins has been something that they think is really interesting, but hasn't really been a huge focus for them, which is fine, because we didn't ask it to be. Sydney and in Melbourne, I think people who are looking for this kind of wine, skins contact Pinot Gris, want it to be cloudier and maybe smell a little bit more like nail polish, but that could be being unfair. But there is a very strong push in sort of hipster wine bars and restaurants, particularly in certain suburbs of Melbourne, where this wine is just too clean and too fruity for their preferences. In Sydney, it's even worse. Like the Sydney natural wine scene is huge, but this wine is way too vanilla for them. It's way too clean, calm, collected, and your more mainstream Sydney restaurants are much more interested in our other wines as well. Where this wine has done very well for us in Australia is Brisbane and north and south of Brisbane. I think it works really well in the climate, but I think also our distributors in Queensland are a little bit more hipster and enjoy pushing this wine more maybe than some of our other distributors. So it's very different state by state. We sell a bit of wine in WA, but I don't think we've sold a case or two to one restaurant over there who wanted to pick it up. But we have exported this wine both to America and to the UK. And my UK customers love this wine, certain of them. So in the UK, remember, we're with a group called Vindependence, and it's a whole lot of independent retailers. So we've got about 20 different retail stores across the whole of the UK that buy our wine through this buying group, and they all buy and concentrate on different things. And so we've got a handful of those stores that love the Pinot Gris on skins, that sell it regularly, that have customers who are totally on board with it and who can't get enough. So this wine is allocated to the UK, and they always take their full allocation, but it goes to very specific shops who are on board with it. In America as well, they've got on board with it as well, particularly our Californian distributors, because this wine for them is a bit different and a bit interesting, and they can sort of lead with it and say, look, all Australian wine isn't Yellowtail and Barossa Shiraz. We know that you think that Pinot Noir and Chardonnay is a bit too mainstream. How about this? And they show this to people and they go, oh, wow, cool. They can do that too in Australia. That's very groovy. And then they look at our other wines with a fresh mind and a fresh sneeze, a fresh mindset about what we're doing. So it's sort of a reverse engineered kind of, we'll show you the slightly wacky wine from our producers in Australia to show you that they're not just cookie cutter Australian wines. So what are people saying? Peter and Karen, I can see that you sell Pinot Gris on skins to known people because honestly it makes an expensive rosé. You have to know why it's good. Absolutely. And you need to know how to drink it. Exactly, Shell, more for us to drink. And we're making more in 2023. So we've made twice as much Pinot Gris on skins. So I hope you like the 2023. But we'll be able to push a little bit more in some of those other markets. But we really don't have to, because we're selling through what we're making in sort of less than 6 months, which means that eventually we're going to have a whole a sprinkling of sesame seeds to garnish the tofu, and the wine really accentuates the nuttiness. Yeah, that'd be really nice, actually. More is giving the fruit a boost. I agree, Craig. It is opening up more. Alison Lister wants to know, are you really sold out of the estate Chardonnay? Alison, it's very close. I think we've taken it off the online shop. So if you want to buy some more estate Chardonnay, we have a little bit in cellar door. I would recommend that you give us a call, give Leonie a call, and she can pop it through, because we took it off the online shop because it's very close to selling out. We've got a tiny bit in Celador, but not much at all. So yeah, it's really last chance saloon at the moment. So give Leonie a call tomorrow. She'll be in. What time will you be in from, Leonie? 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. I'm not sure if Leonie's doing deliveries tomorrow morning, but she'll be in tomorrow morning, and you can call, and she'll be able to tell you what she can let you have, and take your credit card details and do it all over the phone, and we'll get it out to you next week, Alison. So yeah, it's a big problem at the moment. I mean, it's better than the problem of being, we keep hearing about Australia's wine glut. And a lot of people are struggling with having too much wine, but we're sort of, for a lot of our wines, we're in the opposite situation. We've pretty much sold out of the 2021 Chardonnay. The 2022 Chardonnay is not ready to release. We've just sold almost the last of the 2019 Pinot Gris. That's my latest bit of news from yesterday. We got a big order from our Sydney distributors, and that's pretty much cleaned us out. We've got, again, a few cases in Celador, but that's pretty much gone. So again, if that wine is your favourite wine of ours, then last chance to see. The 2019 Estate Pinot Noir, we still have a little bit of, but we think that's probably going to sell out in the next couple of months. And the 2020 Estate Pinot Noir is ready to move on to, so we'll roll straight onto that. It's looking delicious, and that'll be in the next Drinks with Kate box. The 2020 Estate Pinot Gris I haven't tasted yet, but if that's looking good, so Pinot Gris, we skipped a vintage. I keep forgetting this. We skipped the 2020, and that all went to Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris, which we then sold to, where did we sell it to again? Norway. We sold almost all of the 2020 Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris to Norway, because we were just struggling to find a market for it during the COVID years. It was a bit new for our distributors, and it was just sitting around for a little while. We thought, we'll move that one out of the way. We had an opportunity to sell it, so we did. So Estate Pinot Gris, we moved straight on to the 2021, and I'm going to have a look at that and see how that's looking. Should be tasty. So I won't be able to taste the 2020 Estate Pinot Gris against the Pinot Gris on skins, because we didn't make one. So that was a foolish thing for me to say earlier on. But I'm glad that we decided to make 2020 Pinot Gris on skins rather than making the white Pinot Gris, and I think that wine's delicious. So, and there wasn't very much of that either. Jeff McKeon is saying tannins seem to have softened in the glass with air, allowing the soft fruits to shine a little more. I agree. It's kind of raspberry, strawberry fruit coming through now, which is really nice. Alison, we can't taste them. We can't taste the 2020 Estate Pinot Gris next to the 2020 Pinot Gris on skins, because we didn't make an Estate Pinot Gris in 2020. We could taste the 2021. Yes, that's a possibility. I will have to see how much of the 2021 we have stashed. And if we have, then we will definitely do that tasting. We might even do that tasting in October for our Drinks with Kate live. Do we have any rough play and magic stalks for sale? Yes, we do. Shell, I am sniffy from too much cat love. I got a little bit of a cat cuddle earlier, and it's just starting to get me going again. I need some cat injections. I don't know. This is one of these things that my father taught me, and it always worked. But these cats don't play properly. Previous cats, if you let your cat scratch you, then you get a little injection, and it makes you less likely to get sniffly with cats around. Whereas these cats won't play like that. They get kind of scared and a bit upset if you try and get them to play scratchy games. And so I don't get my injections, or they scratch your hand off and you bleed for days. I think that's more with mummy cat, right, Sue? So yes, I haven't had any cat injections for a long time. So I'm having a bit of an allergic reaction to the love that Jack is giving me. It's nice to have that love. It sounds like something a cat would make up. Yes, Shell, absolutely. Just let me scratch you a little bit and it'll make you feel better. Yeah, thanks, Kat. All right, team. I know I stuffed you around for the first 10 minutes of this session, but we've been talking now for 50 minutes, and I think I should probably let you get on with your dinner. But what I haven't done, oh yes, I know what we're doing next week. Next week, remember, I am going to the snow, and there is actually a little bit of snow to go to at the moment. It's not great, but I'm going to the snow with the family, and we'll be at Falls Creek at the lodge that we are members of. There's very little private space at the communal lodge, so I'm really not sure how successful this is going to be. So I thought, rather than doing a Moorooduc Estate wine next week, anyone who wants to log in and say hi and have a look at the snow, I will take our little portable internet dongle with me, so that hopefully the internet is up to speed. Peter, can you? Oh no, Peter's not watching. I'll try and remember to bring that. Dad, help me remember to take the dongle with us when we go up to the snow. But we'll do a little bit of après-ski with a little fortified wine next week. So I will send you an email, possibly tomorrow, because I'll be already on holiday by Monday, and just to make up for my tardiness this week, I'll send you an email with some suggestions of some wines that you might want to see if you can procure before next Thursday. And if you'd like to have a look at where we'll be staying, and have a look at the snow falling down, if that's happening next Thursday, and have a little talk about Muscat and Tokay, and maybe even Spanish, not Spanish, Portuguese. Rod, you can help me with that. You just passed an exam. Port, Tawny Port, maybe. I've got a little bottle of Tawny Port there that I might drag up to the snow. I think that would be nice. So we shall do après-ski next week at 6 o'clock, if we can make it work. If it's too loud and horrible, we'll keep it short, but we'll get back to regular transmission the following week. So it's been lovely. Finally, once Dad found my 2020 Pinot Gris on skin, it's been lovely revisiting this wine with you guys. It's still changing in the glass, so that also is a really good sign that it's going to continue to age well. But I think it's actually drinking quite nicely now. We'll maybe come back to it in 5 years and sit around the table and open a bottle. But that'll be fun. Cotty, sorry you'll miss next week as well. I also had to tell you, Kay Farrow's not here tonight, but she wanted to let you all know, because she was very upset that she forgot to say it last week. She wanted to let you all know that her Barbera that she was complaining about during the session 2 weeks ago actually opened up really well 24 hours later. So she wanted you to know that wine should not be dissed. You should look out for it. And so I've passed that on now, Kay. Hopefully I'll see some of you next week. If not, we'll be back here again in 2 weeks' time. Cheers, everyone. Take care. Lots of love, and have a wonderful week. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the wine, Karen. I think it's very enjoyable. Yes, Shell, let Andrew know. Awesome to see you guys again. Cheers.